Hello and welcome to Spokane Buddhist Temple's virtual service. My name is Amanda Goodwin and I will be your MC. Your doshi for today's service is Reverend Melissa Opal. Before we begin, please know that we will be muting your microphones. It's recommended that you turn your camera off and switch your viewing mode to speaker view. So to do this, just go to the upper right-hand corner of your screen where you'll see view and you can choose speaker view. If you do not want your picture or name shown, please take this into account and update it accordingly as we do live stream to Facebook. After service today, we'll have an opportunity to have a Dharma discussion on the video that we watch and a little bit of socializing as well. So if you'd like to stay for that, please do so. Our opening chant today will be the Shishin Rai. The Shishin Rai can be found on page 28 in the service book. If you don't have your own service book, I will be providing it here as part of the screen share function.
Namo Mirabutsu. Namo Mirabutsu. Namo Mirabutsu. Namandats, 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 namandats.
Thank you. We will now read the Golden Chain number 1 on page 15. I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amita's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. We're going to go to page 12 now for the Jodo Shinshu Creed number 2. Together, please. I affirm my faith in Amita's infinite wisdom and compassion. Reciting the sacred name, I shall live with strength and joy. I shall look to Amita's guiding light. As I reflect upon my imperfect self, I live with gratitude for the perfect compassion which surrounds me at all times. I shall follow Amita's teachings. I shall understand the right path and resolve to spread the true teachings. I rejoice in Amita's wisdom and compassion. I shall respect and help my fellow beings and work for the good of my community. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandat, namandat. The sutra chant this morning will be the Junirai on page 67.
Keishu tenin shokugyo Amida senyo zokuson Zai mi myo rako Muyo bushi shu inyu Konji kishin yo sen no Shamata yo zobu Yomoku jo nyaku shorenge Koga shorai mirason Menzen en yo mangat Iko yun yo sen ichigat Shonyo ten kukushira Koga chorai mirason Quan non chodai quan chi chi Shudru mil so shogon Nobuku gedo makelman Koga chorai mirason Mubi muku ko shoujo Shutoku keiketsu nyokoku Shora sariyaku toku jizai Koga chorai midason Jipo myomon bosashu Muyo shomazyo sandan Isho shujogan rikishi Koga shorai mirason Kontai ho kenchi shoke Zengon shoujo meldaisa Ohi sa shonyo sen no Koga chorai midason Jipo shorai shobushi Kengen Shianra Sengo Sonyen Gyokugyo Koga Chorai Mida Son Shomu Jomu Gato Yakunyo Suigatsu Denyoro Ishu Seppo Mumyoji Konya Chorai Mida Son Hison Busetsumu Akumyo Yakumunyo ni nakudofu Shunin shishin gyo hison Koga chorai midason Hison muyo benkyo Mushoshu akushishi Ojo futai shibonai Koga chorai midason Nasetsu hison kudokuchi Shusen muhen yokai sui Shonyakusen gon sho yo Seishu yo sho hiko Namandabu 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 Nani shikudoku Myono seisai Don tsumonai shin Onyo an rako Namo Mirabutsu. Namo Mirabutsu. Namo Mirabutsu. Namandats, namandats, namandats.
Today, we will be watching a video for our Dharma talk, and it will be by Reverend Dr. Takashi Miyagi from Southern Alameda County Buddhist Church.
Namandas, 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 namandas. Okay, please join me in Gasho. When describing the Pure Land, Shakyamuni explains the following. Quote, there are lotus flowers as large as chariot wheels growing in the pools. Those of blue color emit blue radiance. Those of yellow color emit yellow radiance. Those of red color emit red radiance. And those of white color emit white radiance. They are exquisite, wonderful, fragrant, and pure. Okay, so good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everyone again this week. It's funny because in some ways, your faces are very familiar now. They're becoming familiar. But on the other hand, I still feel like I haven't met many of you because I haven't spoken to you directly or heard you speak, your voice, your mannerisms. So it feels like I kind of just got here. But I think, in many ways, this is probably going to continue on for some time. But I guess it's shikatakana, yeah. But I'm happy to be here with you all. I'm happy to hear the teachings of the Buddha Dharma alongside with you. So I'm sure you are watching, what's happening in the news lately right now, and I think much of the news is being focused on the politics and the upcoming election. I think there's a lot to say on this topic, and many of you might have strong opinions on how you feel about this issue. I think one thing that I've noticed that is kind of concerning is the emphasis on divisiveness and scapegoating of certain groups of people. Every day we flip on the news, it seems like there's something new that is taking place. It's like one thing after another, and the situation is very just constant and unstable, and it causes much anxiety, frustration, and stress. I know I can only take so much, so I have to, stop or make it a point to stop watching the news, just because, I only have so much money budgeted for television, and I don't want to punch the screen and break my TV every single time. So I have to make it a point to turn off my TV. But you understand that it's sheer madness right now. What's going on? My heart goes out to all the people who have to report on this kind of news every day, because I can't even begin to imagine how stressful that work might be. But anyway, so I'm not here to talk about how to lower our stress or how to deal with anxiety, but I would like to look at this issue in the context of our spiritual selves. How would Jodo Shinshu put in its 2 cents on matters like this? Jodo Shinshu Buddhism says that all sentient beings are what is called bonbu, which means people who have blind passions or attachments. We are unable to see things as they are, and so we judge things based on our biased views. I'd like to give you a few examples of this. I love to eat udon. I am a udon lover. I will choose udon over somen, over soba, over chow mein, chow fun, pho, over ramen, any day, right? And this is my bias. I love udon because I have been eating it since I was a child. My grandma is from Kochiken, which is in the island of Shikoku in Japan. And Shikoku people eat udon primarily due to the influence of Kagawa. Kagawa Prefecture is its neighboring prefecture. And Kagawa is known for its udon. Like for example, have you ever heard of Sanuki udon? Sanuki is the old way of saying Kagawa. And so it's it's in the same Shikoku Island, and so that's why they eat udon a lot over there. So my grandma used to make it for me all the time, and so she ate it all her life. Her parents probably ate it all their lives. So it's kind of built in the blood, if you will, right? I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Forrest Gump, but you know, the person Bubba, the character who plays Bubba, he likes to eat shrimp, and he explains that, you know, all through the generations before him, they used to always eat shrimp too, and so that's why he naturally has an inclination towards shrimp. So I'm kind of the same way with udon, but basically what that is that my karmic past conditioned me to have a bias towards udon over any other noodles. So if I had grown up, you know, with Vietnamese parents, I probably would have preferred pho over udon. Maybe not, you know, it could have been the case that, you know, I was, you know, taught to eat many different kinds of foods as a child, and so then I might prefer udon over pho, but who knows, you know. But again, that's about the karma, the karmic past. So my karma has conditioned me to prefer one thing over another. And this is not just the case with food. We do this with the clothes that we choose to wear. I don't have my hair dyed. I don't wear black eyeshadow, right? Because my karmic condition has led me to be a person that doesn't choose to do that. I don't have a physique that is buff, you know, 0% body fat, right? Because I don't work out on a daily basis. You know, that's my karmic past, karmic condition, and on it goes. So I choose certain things over others because of these biases. Everything from the flavor of ice cream that I prefer, to the women that I find attractive, right? To the books that I choose to read, to the friends that I choose to associate with. All these decisions that come from my karma. But karma is based on attachments, blind passions, we call it. So similarly, when I look at other people, when I look at things like the world around me and all of these social issues involved with the world, I judge those things based on my attachments. It's kind of like having, you know, glasses, and these lenses of my glasses are made of my attachments. And so I can't see things as they are. I can only help but to see things through these lens of attachments. The Buddha, however, can see things as they are. Right? The Buddha sees things as such. And this is the definition of Buddha. The Buddha can see things as they are. And we stand in contrast to that. We all have our glasses on, the lens of blind passions. And that is what our ignorance is. And ignorance fetters us in this suffering. It keeps us within this world of suffering. A lot of times people will say that Buddhism is so negative, you know, it's a pessimistic worldview, and it teaches us that we have blind passions and about, you know, karma, and that we have to get rid of these blind passions, right? But I love my family. I love my dog. You know, I want to enjoy this life. You know, what about the sound of kids laughing, right? There are some joys in this life. There are many things in this world that is not so negative. So this religion, Buddhism, is too negative in its outlook. Right? And this is what the criticism is against Buddhism. And Buddhism has had this criticism made against it since the time of Shakyamuni Buddha, 2,500 years ago. Indeed, Buddhism is realistic in its outlook. It tells us that human attachments or blind passions is what keeps us in this world of suffering. But I would like to give you an example of why this criticism is wrong. Imagine to yourself that you're at a barbecue. Now imagine to yourself that you went to the store and you bought the a Kingsford charcoal bag, and the charcoal that if you pull out a piece of charcoal from that charcoal bag, it's black, right? It is pitch black. It is so black that you would wonder where you would be able to get something like this on Earth, right? It gets everywhere. It gets on your clothes. It gets on your hands, right? It has a very distinct smell with it, right? The smell of this, I don't know what to call it other than to say unhealthiness, the smell of unhealthiness, right? You wouldn't want to be smelling that around all day. But when you light that piece of coal and you give it some time, that charred black piece of coal turns bright red and burns brightly. It burns vivaciously. It burns full of energy and brilliance. The coal is able to light other coal, The coal is able to cook a warm meal, warm cold water into hot water for hot chocolate, right? And it gives light to people, giving them warmth and comfort. If you have been camping, you know what I'm talking about and how these things are very important, right? To have these kind of amenities. So this pitch black colored piece of coal turns into a source of energy and burns brightly when it is ignited. We are that piece of coal. We have nothing but attachments, and the abyss of blackness is through and through. But it is precisely because of our nature of delusion that when we encounter the flame of Amida Buddha's great compassion, we are able to then burn brightly and with ferocity. In fact, the blacker the coal, the brighter the flame. And what this means is that when we recognize the human condition, we are able to become our true selves and burn brightly for ourselves and for others. Shinran Shonin gives a kind of a similar example to this. And I'm sorry to kind of throw a lot of examples at you, but I would like to give you an example that he gave. He states the following, quote, obstructions of karmic evil turn into virtues. It is like the relation of ice and water. The more the ice, the more the obstructions, the more the virtues, end quote. So what he is explaining here is that our nature as Bonbu, or people with blind passions, is like that of ice. But with Amida Buddha's warm compassion that we receive, that ice melts into the water of virtue. So the more we recognize just how deep our blind passions go, the more we see how we are in a condition of not being able to free ourselves from suffering. And this is like the amount of ice that we create. But the more ice that we see, right, that we create, then we encounter Amida Buddha's great compassion, and that ice becomes the water of virtue. The more the ice, the more the water, Shinran Shonin explains. So it's important to note one thing though about this is that Shinran is not saying to go out and do bad things, right? He's not saying go out and hurt others, right? Rather, what he's explaining is that when we truly see the human condition for what it is, that we are beings with attachments, and the clearer that becomes, the more we can see just how much we are embraced in the Buddha's compassion. This then enables us to be our unique selves, because we can live authentically in accordance to truth. So going back to the charcoal example, the more the blackness of the coal, the brighter and more brilliant we burn, and the flame of our life will be uniquely ours. The passage that I read to you at the beginning of today's talk is explaining this, just that, what I'm talking about, this unique self. In the smaller sutra, it explains that the lotus flower of the Pure Land will shine brightly in its own unique and authentic way. The blue-colored lotus will emit its blueness to its fullest. The yellow-colored lotus flowers will emit its yellowness to its fullest. And the same for the red and the same for the white-colored flowers. Similarly, when we awaken to Amida Buddha's great compassion, in the eyes of the Buddha, we will shine brilliantly and brightly, each in our own unique way. Our specific karmic background will create a unique and specific brilliance that is original to ourselves. It's like the uniqueness of each snowflake. So if you are for example, a musician, you will shine in your playing. If you are a teacher, you will shine in your teaching. If you are a parent, you will shine in your parenting. If you are a judo black belt, you will shine when you do your judo. If you are a scientist, you will shine while you're doing your work. This is what the Buddha teaches us. Amida teaches us that our lives are special, that your existence is crucial in this time and space. The Buddha understands this. We are the ones who have to come to this understanding. And this teaching is explained to us, given to us, provided for us in the form of Amida Buddha's great compassion, the message of Namo Amida Butsu. So no, this teaching is not pessimistic. It's not negative. It is realistic. It is uplifting. It is moving. It is profound. But the only way to unlock the depth of this teaching is when we open ourselves up to the Buddha's great compassion and have the audacity to see our true selves, the Bombu. And because after all, it's out of the mud that grows the lotus flower. So with that, keep shining, my Dharma friends, and keep doing what you're doing, living life's experiences, all the while as we keep Amida Buddha's great compassion at the center of our lives. With that, I would like to end. Please join me in Gassho. When describing the Pure Land, Shakyamuni explains the following, quote, "There are lotus flowers as large as chariot wheels growing in the pools. Those of blue color emit blue radiance. Those of yellow color emit yellow radiance. Those of red color emit red radiance. And those of white color emit white radiance. They are exquisite, wonderful, fragrant, and pure." Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you.
We'd like to thank Dr. Reverend Takashi Miyaji for the wonderful Dharma talk. And we will now read the Threefold Refuge on page 10, led by Reverend Melissa Opal. I'll get my screen up for that in case you guys don't have a service book available.
Difficult is it to receive a human form. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Dharma of the Buddha. Now we hear it. If we do not cross over to the truth in this present life, in what life shall we cross over? Let us with deep sincerity and true reverence take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we, together with all sentient beings, awaken to the great way of enlightenment and to the unsurpassed intent of Amida Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we, together with all sentient beings, enter the storehouse of the Dharma, becoming like the wisdom ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we, together with all sentient beings, become units in true accord, in harmony with all things. The peerless, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rare to encounter, even in many hundreds and thousands of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandatsu, namandatsu.
Today, we will be observing Shotsuki Hoyo. Minister's Assistant Chad Donahoe will lead us in, and Sean Bolts will read the names. Oh, you're muted still, Chad. I'll unmute you.
There you go. Sorry about that. All right. Today, the members of the Spokane Buddhist Temple come before Amida Buddha to observe the Shotsuki Hoyo Memorial and Dharma Family Service for the month of January. In remembering our deceased family members and friends, we express our heartfelt gratitude for the many ways their actions supported and benefited our lives. Traditionally, this memorial is for family and friends of those who passed. You may not recognize any of the names that are read today, but know that you have benefited from these individuals. Remembering these individuals makes us realize that the foundation upon which our life is based was actually created even before we were born. It also allows us to realize the new life that unfolds before us. So when we face death, we become aware of the meaning of our birth. In that sense, only when we are able to accept death can we truly celebrate our birth. In this way, a sad occasion is transformed into a happy one. When we think in this way, Shotsuki Hoyo is a joyous gathering and a celebration of the life that we are able to enjoy today. Sean Bolts will now read the names for January.
Asayo Hayamoto, Michael Higashi, James Horiuichi, Sue Hongpikul, Peter Lo Kelsey, James Kiaichi Koga, Sagata Kuwahara, Mrs. Shige Ida, Gregory Matazo Soejima, Grover C. Twiner, Mrs. Sakai Wakayama, Richard Williams, Manichi Yamaguchi, Jake Normandine.
With deep appreciation for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha, we reaffirm the three homages. Please repeat after me. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. Please join me in Gasho, which will be followed by a few moments of silence. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, namanda.
We thank you for attending today's virtual service. As an all-volunteer Sangha, we truly appreciate all donations and efforts. Without your continued support, we could not host our visiting ministers, assist with continuing education, or provide a place for all to come to listen to the Dharma. Although we cannot meet in person, many volunteers continue to maintain our temple and keep it functioning so that when we are able to meet in person again, the space will be ready. If you would like to donate, you can do so by either sending a check to the temple at 927 South Perry Street or via the link on our website. Please feel free to email the temple if you have any further questions. We'll have a few short announcements, and then after announcements, get into the socialization and Dharma discussion. I don't know if we have any announcements, actually.
I think the only announcement is we do have an All Sangha meeting coming up from the board, and that'll take place after service on the 24th in place of discussion time. So anybody who wants to know what's kind of going on with the temple long term or discuss any, stuff, like that's the place to do it. So we hope that you'll join us on the 24th.
Melissa, what about Ho'onko in January?
Honko will be observed at the end of the month with Reverend Kusunoki. He's going to join us virtually on the 31st. And so, next week would normally be the Sunday we would celebrate Honko. And so we'll mention it in service, but we won't actually celebrate until the 31st. All right, well, that now concludes service. We will, at this point in time, stop we'll end in Gasho, and then I'll stop the live video feed, and then we'll have discussion time. So please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.